Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Sandy Smith, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Sergeant Kira Poole. We warmly welcome the family of Flying Officer Eric Neville Somerville, whose story will be told shortly. We also welcome those family members who cannot be here and who are watching the live stream. We warmly welcome one recruit training unit from the Royal Australian Air Force base in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, and Mr. Greg Hood, representing the Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of Hobartville Public School from Hobartville, New South Wales. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer Eric Neville Somerville. Eric Somerville was born on the 16th of September 1914 in Tamworth, New South Wales. Affectionately known as Barney, he was one of 8 children born to local grazier James Somerville and his wife Beatrice. Barney received his education at the Church of England Grammar School in North Sydney, where he was a keen member of the Cadet Corps. He then studied to become a pharmacist and undertook a 3-year apprenticeship with a Sydney-based chemist. Barney enjoyed acting and featured in many stage productions and plays. At the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939, he was working as a journalist and writer. Barney Somerville enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force on the 29th of April 1940. He began training as an air observer in the rural town of Cootamundra before travelling to Parkes, where he trained at the Air Navigation School. Having completed his training in Australia, Somerville embarked for active service in February 1941, sailing on board the troop ship Aquitania. He arrived in Egypt at the end of March and joined his first operational unit, No. 39 Squadron, Royal Air Force, in late July. Equipped with Maryland light bombers, Somerville and his comrades undertook reconnaissance missions around Libya and occasionally completed bombing raids on enemy positions in the Western Desert. In February 1942, Somerville transferred to No. 203 Squadron, then based in Libya, from where he undertook missions to protect convoys of ships being sent to Malta. On his first mission with his new squadron, his aircraft became the target of friendly fire from the cruisers they were escorting, but sustained no damage. In the early hours of the morning, on the 15th of April 1942, Somerville was a crew member in a Maryland bomber on a routine sea patrol. During the flight, the aircraft sighted an enemy convoy near Malta and began following its movements. The crew sent a message saying they would land in Malta at about 1 p.m, but were not seen from again. In November 1942, Somerville and his crew were officially listed as killed in action, presumed to have lost their lives on the 15th of April. This news reached Somerville's family weeks after the loss of his brother James, who had died of illness while serving with the RAAF in Melbourne. Somerville's mother wrote a poem in memory of her son, which read, "My son is dead, lies in a lonely grave, no stately burial his, no lengthy train. Of mourners bore to rest the honoured slain, who sleep with him, they died that they might save the course of freedom, lest the Huns enslave the whole wide world in one encircling chain. Of tyrants' lust, their fair young lives they gave. Never again will he come with light laughter and with honest eyes, nor greet me with those lips which were the prize and tender token of his love for me, his mother." Flying Officer Eric Somerville's final resting place was never found. Today, he is commemorated at the Alamein Memorial in Egypt, among almost 12,000 others who have no known grave. He was 27 years old. Eric Somerville's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer Eric Neville Somerville, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, for we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.